Imagine standing in the middle of a military camp. Thousands of soldiers are preparing for a battle that could decide the future of Rome. Armor is being fastened, weapons are sharpened, fear hangs in the air. And then a philosopher walks in, not carrying a sword, not leading an army, simply wanting to talk about virtue. Most of the soldiers thought he had lost his mind. Some laughed. Others told him to leave. They had no interest in hearing about character when war was only hours away. A few stopped and listened. For him, that was enough. The philosopher's name was Musonius Rufus. History rarely places him beside the great names of Stoicism, yet the people who knew him described something remarkable. He didn't simply teach philosophy, he lived it. Rome tested him more than once. Emperor Nero exiled him. When he was finally allowed to return, another emperor, Vespasian, sent him away again. Most people would have become bitter. Others would have remained silent. Musonius did neither. Each time he returned, he carried on teaching exactly as before, not because life had become easier, but because he believed that principles only mattered when they survived difficult times. Many philosophers of his day could speak beautifully about courage, simplicity, and self-control. Musonius asked a more uncomfortable question. What happens after the lecture ends? If wisdom never reaches your actions, has anything really changed? To him, philosophy was never meant to impress an audience. It was meant to shape a life. He often compared character to any other skill. No one becomes a musician simply by reading about music. No athlete becomes stronger by talking about exercise. In the same way, no one becomes wise by collecting ideas alone. Character is built the same way every meaningful skill is built. One decision, one habit, one ordinary day at a time. Among those listening to Musonius was a young slave named Epictetus. He owned nothing. He controlled very little. Yet he absorbed these lessons so deeply that they would later shape one of the most influential philosophies ever written. Through Epictetus, the ideas reached Marcus Aurelius. Centuries later, they continue to influence psychology, leadership, and everyday life. Curiously, Musonius himself never wrote a book. What survives today exists because one of his students believed the lessons were too valuable to lose and carefully wrote them down. Perhaps that tells us everything we need to know about the man. He wasn't trying to leave behind famous words. He was trying to leave behind better people. Maybe that's why his teaching still feels surprisingly modern. Knowing what is right has never been the difficult part. Living it is. And perhaps the real measure of character isn't what we say we believe. It's what we choose to do on an ordinary day, when no one is watching, and no one would ever know the difference. They told us. We didn't listen.